tonight in executive session, we spoke on personnel. And now we have announcements.
At this time, I would like to read a statement that's been prepared by the board liaisons made by Representative Abigail Salisbury regarding the purported misuse of district funds. These serious accusations, which have now been amplified through news media reports, appear to be based solely on social media comments and emails from select individuals, many of whom do not have children enrolled in our school district and lack firsthand knowledge of our operations. What is particularly troubling is that Representative Salisbury has never contacted the Woodland Hills District Administration to express concerns, request information, or seek clarification regarding our financial practices. Had the representative extended this common courtesy, we would have been pleased to provide comprehensive documentation demonstrating our commitment to fiscal responsibility and transparency. The Woodland Hills School District takes the stewardship of public funds with the utmost seriousness. Our financial practices are subject to rigorous oversight, including annual independent audits, regular board review, and compliance with all state and federal regulations. Our budget and financial records are matters of public record and are available for review. Much of the recent speculation appears to focus on the district's use of procurement cards. The Woodland Hills School District has maintained a strict policy regarding P card for many years, and this governs the issuances, use, and oversight of these purchasing tools. Every P card expense is thoroughly vetted and validated through our established approvals and reconciliation process, which includes detailed documentation, receipt verification, and administrative review. The district maintains comprehensive records for all P card transactions and can provide clear, documented answers to every charge that has been questioned. These cards are essential tools that allow our schools to efficiently make district-related purchases while maintaining appropriate fiscal controls and accountability measures. Additionally, these expenses always fall within each department's approved budget. The total annual P card expenses are less than 1/2 of 1% of the district's overall approved budget. Regarding the Edgewood project, questions have also been raised about this project. It is a matter of public record that near the end of phase 1, the clerk of the works identified and self-disclosed an issue relating to prevailing wage. They immediately notified the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry of this error, demonstrating appropriate transparency and compliance. The board was also notified of the issue. Subsequently, a change order to address this matter was presented at a public meeting of the school board, where the district's head of buildings and grounds thoroughly explained the situation. The change order was ultimately approved by the board through a unanimous vote. It is important to note that because this was not a district error, the clerk of the works did not charge the district the standard 10% fee on this change order, resulting in a cost savings for the district. Furthermore, the total cost of the Edgewood project fell in line with the original cost estimates. This demonstrates prudent project management and fiscal oversight throughout the construction process. Regarding the superintendent's administrative leave, the district is committed to being as transparent as possible with our community. However, we are legally prohibited from discussing personnel matters publicly. These constraints are established by state and federal law to protect the rights and privacy of all employees. We would expect that Representative Salisbury, serving in the public sector, would understand these legal constraints that govern all public employers. The district will continue to publicly disclose as much information as we are legally permitted to share, and will do so in a timely manner as circumstances allow. Our community, particularly the families who entrust us with their children's education, deserves better than allegations made without proper investigation or dialogue. The hardworking educators, staff, and administrators of this district are dedicated to providing quality education to our students, and these baseless accusations undermine their important work. We continue to invite Representative Salisbury to contact our administration directly to discuss our financial practices. We remain committed to transparency and open communication with all stakeholders in our students' education. The Woodland Hills School District will continue to focus on our mission, providing excellent educational opportunities for all students in our community.
fun for them to learn about them. So that's a little bit about what we do. And I just want to take the time to say thank you all very much for having me at your school district. I keep telling Kylie I'll be back to visit because I'm really enjoying it here. It's really nice to get to meet all the kids. With the holidays, it's gone very, very quickly. But it's been so much fun, and it's been wonderful to work here. The kids are so fun and caring and just outgoing, and it's been a wonderful time. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys.
We're glad to have you. Thank you, and good luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you. You guys enjoy your meeting?
Thank you, Amanda. All right, next we're going to have a presentation by Stifel Public Finance in regards to the explanation of the refunding of the 2018 bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hard to follow through. This isn't going to be as interesting, I could tell you that. My name's Joe Muscatello, and I'm with Stifel Nicholas, and I'm here to update you on the bond refinancing. I gave everybody a presentation, so again, the first page is a summary of all the district's debt, all the different bond issues, and of all those bond issues, the 2018s can be refinanced at this point. A lot of times bonds are sold with like a call protection. You can't refinance them to a certain date. So even though some of your outstanding bonds carry an interest rate of 5%, can't refinance them until a certain date. So the 2018 bonds, we would start the process of the refinancing, but we really couldn't call the bonds out of the marketplace until September 1. But the earliest that we can close on the new bond issue is June 2nd, and I have a timeline in the back. Page 3 shows the district's outstanding debt. So all the different bond issues that were on the first page, we broke them up into payments, annual payments of principal and interest. And currently the district pays about $8.8 million a year in debt service. Page 4 is the savings. So when we structured the savings, meaning, we're able to, replace the 5% interest bonds with lower interest bonds, so it generates savings. This first scenario shows the savings up front. Basically, we reduce your debt service in 2027 and 2028, school year 2027, 2028, and you save about $2.1 million. $2.097 million right now is the savings. So by refinancing, it keeps your debt service payments the same, so they don't go any higher, and we don't extend the debt. So all those bonds were going to go away in 2049. They still go away in 2049. So by lowering the interest rates, we're able to give the district a reduction in their debt service of about $2 million over a 2-year period. And it doesn't change your existing debt service except for those 2 years, nor does it extend your debt. The second scenario is you could also opt, if you wanted to, is to take the savings over to life, meaning reducing your payments over the next 24 years or 23 years. And you can reduce your debt service payments by about $142,000 a year by refinancing. So those are basically the 2 ways to take the savings.
I think it's important also, Mr. Muscatello, so I'm always saying that capital project money has to be spent separately than general fund.
Yes.
This is a refunding, meaning that money can go to the general fund.
Yes.
To help with our depleting fund balance.
Yes.
Year over year over year.
Yes.
So when I keep saying to them, we have a depleting fund balance of $3 million, and it needs to either slow down or major changes need to happen. This does give us a cushion doing it the way that it's always been done, and not take the $140,000 when your budget is $120 million is such a small crumb to take over the life of this. All it's really going to do is rush us into using all of our fund balance a year quicker. So I just want to explain that in my opinion as your business manager, your financial officer, and as someone who's been doing this 22 years, I have never seen someone take it over the life of the debt, because it's like throwing a deck chair off the Titanic.
Right.
It's not going to stop the sinking ship when you're blowing through your fund balance.
Right. And you're correct. If you would take the money at closing, so when we close, say that we close on June 2nd, and you receive the $2 million, you would have basically 3 years to spend it, and they would have to be spent on a capital project. But if we reduce your debt service, it basically becomes general fund money. You can use it for whatever you want because you're not taking it up front. And then you are correct. Usually districts don't take the money over to life because it takes so many years to actually see the benefit. But I wanted to present both scenarios just in case, the board felt differently. The next page just basically summarizes. The important number is in that box at the very bottom where it says net PV savings. When we do a refinancing, we usually look at the percentage savings. The state usually likes to see about 3% savings after cost. So you're well above it. You're at 4.7 to 4.8% savings. So we're above what the state likes to see.
3, you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Usually I like to see 3. People will do it for 2. Districts will refinance for 2%, but usually you want to see 3% or better.
And if the interest rates would go higher, you would then come back to us and say, don't do this now. This is not a good time for you to do this.
So we would look at.
You would never suggest that we do this and pay more.
No. Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. I'd lose my job. But Jill is correct. So if interest rates go higher, then the savings is going to be lower. And what we would do is we would just wait until interest rates adjusted before we would actually refinance the bonds. So it's not like you don't have a drop dead date. It's not like you have to do it by a certain time. You have, up to 2049 actually to refinance these bonds, but we would monitor it for you. Now, if interest rates go lower, then that savings number is going to be higher, and that's a much easier decision. But basically, what we would do if we get the okay from the district is to start putting together what's called a prospectus. And that's a booklet that we put together that talks about the economics of the school districts, summarizes all the financials. It talks about the economic area, number of students, provides all these different trends. Because when we sell it, when we show that booklet to our investors, they don't visit the schools, so they need something that they can review to do their own credit analysis as to whether or not they want to invest in the school district or not. And we also go to Standard & Poor's and get an independent rating of the school district as well. And the school districts for the last few years, up until a couple of years ago, they were an A- negative. Now you're an A- stable, so you got upgraded a couple of years ago. So we would also get a rating in the meantime.
And the reason you're bringing this to us now is because we are now within the window of being permitted to do this.
Yes, because
previously we were not.
Right.
Because there's like a 5-year window that you're not allowed to do it. We're now entering that window.
Right. Yeah, there's 2 windows. One, as you said, they were going to be currently callable in September, but it takes about 2 to 3 months to get everything ready. Like we put together the booklet with the help of the district. Then it takes about a month to get a rating from Standard & Poor's. So you're already 2 months in, and then the earliest that we can sell the bonds is going to be late April and close in June. So that's the earliest. So if we see interest rates going lower, you're saving over $2 million, I would call the district and say, hey, we're at our savings level. Let's sell the bonds tomorrow. So we're ready to do it, just in case something else happens. And then the next page, when the ad was put in the paper, it was for a much larger number. than what we're actually refinancing. The reason being is that we don't know where interest rates are going to be whenever we sell those bonds. So we like to have some room as to like if the saving, it only makes a big difference if the interest rates would come down, because then you can borrow more because it's a lower interest rate and that increases your savings. So that's one of the main reasons, because we don't know where the interest rates are. But when you say we need at least $2 million before we would refinance, it doesn't. The bond issue is going to be the size that you would think it's going to be. It's going to be that $42 million or $43 million, because we have guardrails in terms of the interest rate can't be higher than what it is now for you to have savings, and you need to produce so much savings. So all those numbers come in. These are just what we call parameter resolutions, and this is what we usually do. We used to sell the bonds and then come to the meeting with all actual financial information, but a lot of times the market moves so fast, and you wouldn't think that with bonds. It continues to move. Is that then if the refinancing doesn't work, then we have to schedule another meeting and you have to advertise, and it's like another week. So we do with these parameter resolutions where we put ourselves into a box, but it's a little bit bigger of a box.
And the good news is that this is just a refunding, because Mr. Bridge and I sat with Mrs. Carnes and Ms. Attenberger and went through all of the numbers, and we will have the money to do the Wilkins roof from the previous bonds. We do not have to take any more debts. We're thinking about $4 million that we are under budget in the other projects. So we only need one to do Wilkins. So that's gonna, yeah. So because originally we had another bond that you could have come and said, hey, you got one more bond to do the Edgewood project. I told you we didn't need that, and now we're going to be under budget.
Yeah, we filed a completion of a notice of completion with the state. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's gone. And then on page 8, it just this is what the bond issue is going to actually look like. It's going to be a much smaller bond issue, in the $42 to $43 million range, depending on where interest rates are. And then the last page is just a sample timeline.
Now that $4 million that we do still have sitting in capital projects, it has to stay in capital projects. But that doesn't mean that we don't have all kinds of other things going on in this district. That we have the community center that you could put money into. We also are holding on to West that could never be to put money into a school building that we're never going to use. It's now the police station. So when they vacate, which we're truly thinking that Greg's on, in 6 months by the summertime, then this board will have to decide, do you want to keep that building for just scrap, or do you want to tear the building down and sell the property? Do you want to sell the property as is, but you'll at least have a cushion of money if you want to then go out and get bids for what it would be to tear the building down and sell the property. So that gives you're not going to have to go get a bond to do that, which is great. It really is great to clean up some of our other properties that we've been talking about for years.
Yeah, good for the school district, bad for me.
I know, but you'll be okay. Okay, so
anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
I don't think it's for you, but it could be for you.
I was going to say, you always have questions.
I'm sorry.
I like it. No, I like it.
Okay, so I'm a little confused with the numbers now.
Okay.
So we're saying that we have a $4 million overage that we have found
from
to do the
previous.
Wilkins roof.
Yeah.
However, we were going to use this money originally to do the roof and balance our budget, but now we don't really have to do this because you have the $4 million.
It's not going to be $4 million.
It's
like
two-
$2 million roof.
It's
So,
two separate.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
like
two separate items. Like,
'cause
so
I'm-
this refunding, the way that districts continue moving forward and not flying through their fund balance, when you have expenses over revenue multiple years in a row, that I've been saying that, This slows it down. If you don't do a refunding, you're going to continue to make that payment, and you're going to continue to pay interest in the same amount of years that you don't have to. This is it's like refinancing your mortgage. It's like saying, okay, I now pay $1,500 in my mortgage and $500 of it is an interest. So instead, I'm going to pay $1,500 on my mortgage, but only $200 is going to be an interest. My principal is going to start to go quicker. So that's what this is. It's a refunding of a bond, very much like getting a lower interest rate on your mortgage.
Okay.
So like a lot of people, like during COVID, they now have 5%, and then we're hoping that those start to come down and everybody can refinance and get maybe 2%. This is what this is. It's
Okay.
lowering our interest rate.
I'm trying to just make sure that, and then we talked about our fund balance is actually at $7 million because we had to pass our budget last year. We were at $3 million, so we had to balance it.
Well, it's
So we're
11
looking-
at the end of 2024.
Right.
Yes.
So now we're looking at the budget again, which we're probably going to be another $3 million. So that $7 million is really not going to be there. But we still have to make our bond payments. So we're looking to refinance to get a lower interest rate and refinancing to get that $2 million in our pocket to ensure that we're not spending that $7 million. So now we're back down to what, 5 or so.
So your fund balance, instead of being 11, would go back up to 13.
But I thought we were at 7. I thought we were at
No, we're at 11 now after 24, 25. 25, 26, you did pass a budget that is also $3 million in the hole. So that's going to take you down to 8. If that happens, this will then bring you back up to 10. Like it's slowing the process down. But I'm not saying at all that you should continue in that path. We have said as an administrative team that much more, this is just one tool to slow that down. You have to look into all the other things that we've talked about as far as restructuring the educational process, the school choice, the centers model, everything else that we've presented to you as an administrative team. All that still has to happen.
Yes.
Either ERIs or furloughs, you have to get within your revenue. Because if you don't, you're going to be out of money in 3 or 4 years. It will be gone if we keep spending. It's like when you have a checking account and you have $500 in your checking account, you keep paying bills, and guess what? You can't write checks out of your checking account when there's no more money. So you have to take money from your savings account to put in your checking account. So our fund balance is our savings account that we're putting in our checking account to make our budget work every year. So when the budget is, the expenditures are 116 million, but the revenue is only 113 million, you're overspending by 3 million. Where does that money come from? From the fund balance. If you keep doing that without changing anything that you're doing in the scope of education for this district, you will be out of money. So this is a way, it's a tool that we can use to slow that process down.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so the only other thing that's left is at another meeting, we'll probably need to pass the not to exceed resolution at that meeting. So whatever meeting that is, let me know. Show up for it.
Oh, thank you very much.
I
Appreciate
really
your time.
appreciate your time.
Not
Thank
a
you.
problem. Thank you.
Ms. Lawson, can I interrupt real quickly? We got a report that sound was off during the Nutrition Inc. presentation online, so we will make sure we've gotten permission. We will post that presentation on the website. So anybody that's on Zoom just could not hear the Nutrition Inc. folks. So we just want to make sure that they get to see the information and process it as it.
So we're good now.
It is working now. Everything seems to be working fine now.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yes,
that. All right. Moving forward. 2.1, public comment.
Okay, so we have 2 for agenda items. Jen Alfieri, she might be online.
I believe I saw her online.
Mrs. Alfieri, can you hear us?
She's on.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Jen Alfieri, 204 Oakview, in Edgewood. I just wanted to talk about two things that were in the agenda last week that you'll be voting on. One being the International Fair. I was going to say, like, I understand there's a lot of different variables going on for safety of our families, which is obviously very, very important. But if there is some way, even if it ends up happening to be just in school, to do something to help engage the families. I would think that at this point, it would be nice for families that are not feeling so good and safe that they would know that they have resources and support within our district. So if the board does, in fact, vote for that to happen, that was just one thought that I had during the week. And then the other part was about the scheduling software that Mr. Wilson talked about. And Mr. Wilson, I can also email you. I don't know if this would happen, but one thing as a parent that's been here for a really long time, if you have a student that is very interested and loves music, but also loves art, they kind of have to choose. It's very, very hard for a student to do both. And so maybe AI could figure out a way to make that happen if this software, if you vote on it and we get it. I don't know if that would be an option, but that is something that I think just down the road as for the district for improvements overall. I saw that with all three of my kids and they were all very into music. So that's pretty much where they stayed. But it was unfortunate that they couldn't dabble in both of the arts. So just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Jeffers.
Good evening. I wanted to speak on P cards. So I did send an email the other day to the finance office requesting information and clarity on several items that I noticed within the P card statements. The response I got was, I will forward your questions to board leadership. Not any clarity, not any answers to any questions. I replied back asking, are you refusing to give me any information or clarity? You know, like, this is your job, you're the finance manager. Surely nobody on the board would know right offhand or have access to the documentation to explain these charges. I was told to fill out a Freedom of Information Act request. Only after I was extremely annoying to our solicitor, who thankfully tolerates my shenanigans, I was given a brief generic synopsis of what some of these charges were. Some of these charges, I will say, it does seem legitimate. I question why P cards were used for it, but some of them not so much. In particular, a procurement card was used to buy subordinates gifts at a boutique in Homestead, and I had asked about that charge, and I was told that it was for holiday gifts, or not holiday gifts, but gifts right before winter break to an administrator's subordinates. Why are our tax dollars buying gifts for subordinates of administrators? And I've noticed a lot of P card charges for restaurants and student-related things. If we're going to buy dinner for certain groups or award certain groups, you know, some extra special treatment, let's make sure there's equity in it and we're giving it to every group that the district has, you know, not just certain ones. You know, I'm sure the elementary school kids would like some Longhorn just as much as, you know, some groups at the high school, and some, you know, some burgers and some other good things. Seeing that, you know, our library budgets are only very small for new books every year. Let's make sure we're spending our district's money on, you know, things that matter, not food. Because we spent from March till now, we spent over $8,000 on pizza, donuts, and restaurant bills. And how much do we spend every year on books? And then one of the biggest things I asked about was, I noticed a charge on this procurement card list The transaction date was 12/22/2025. It was a transaction for pizza at the Rankin Impact Center. And I'm like, 12/22? I'm like, the district was closed. Who are we buying pizza for if all buildings in the district were closed? I presented that question. The reply was, there was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and that's where the pizza and the Dick's Sporting Goods bill that I requested information on came from. And I checked the calendar.
Your time.
No.
Your time's up, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, so because Mr. Jeffers did email me and ask me these particular questions, I also have to go to the said administrator and ask what these particular charges were, because I make it my habit. I do look at the procurement card charges, but I do not micromanage my extremely capable and educated colleagues. They're not children. It all comes out of their budgets. They feel that sometimes the pressures of this district, what our administrators, principals face every day with the children, the parents, the challenges of everything else that comes to them, that it's okay to maybe give them a little bit of a thank you sometimes. It's okay to take that out of your personal budget and say, you know what, you're a great educator, and I'm glad you show up for our students. So yes, the administrators do that to keep morale up in the district, because sometimes it catapults very quickly. It goes downhill very quickly. As far as the groups that get to go to Longhorn and things like that, they are all wrapped around trips that our student athletes take, or our student educators take a group of people to a certain field trip that they may not have a lunch. They may not have a lunch available through the cafeteria because of the time of the day that they're leaving. Different things like that. It is all explainable, every single one of them. We spent $75,000 last year, or actually in a 15-month period, through P cards with a budget of $116 million. That is 1/1000th of 1% that every receipt is turned in. It's all in my office. We do have a process for this, and I'd like to go through that with you quickly. The policy for the purchasing usage was passed in April of 22. The purchasing cards were not put into use until January of 23. January 9th, I sent an email to the 12 cardholders at the time in the district stating the expectations and the rules of use, which we had put together as an administrative team on how this was going to go and how we were going to control it. These very highly educated people that I work with every day, and I'm proud to work with them every day, we put this together. This was not something that we thought, oh, let's just run out and do this. So I asked for correspondence back if they understood the rules. Every single person got back to me and said, yep, we got it, we understand. Then January 19th, I sent an email to all of their secretaries with the copy of the paperwork and an explanation of what each principal, secretary, or department head and their secretary would have to compile every month, meaning they have to fill out a form stating every single reason and the purchase and where it was from, and they have to have a stapled receipt attached to that for every single thing. That then goes to a woman in my office who gathers the information and emails back and says, hey, you're missing this. You're missing this, you're missing this. After we get everything, it then goes to Mrs. Carnes, who is the accountant of the district, who then goes through all of this, goes through it with Ruth, who is the accounts payable, to make sure that nobody's going over their budget. And I assure you, in the 3 years we've had these cards, not one administrator has even come close to going over their budget. These cards are used, and I said to them in the presentation to start the year, to the entire staff, I said, we will no longer be letting you use your own personal credit cards to be reimbursed, because we had teachers and other people who had their hands tied behind their back when they needed a case of water for something they were doing, or possibly a pizza, or possibly some other gift they wanted to give to the kid that really improved themselves in their classroom. They would go and buy this with their own money, turn in a receipt. I had to then make them a vendor. They had to get a check. They had to cash it. Nobody does it that way anymore. Nobody. It's totally antiquated. So we said, and we couldn't control it because the teachers were doing it and the staff were doing it without asking permission. Now, with the P cards, everybody has to ask permission. They can't go out and buy something. And I made every person in this district know, if you go use your own credit card, you will not be reimbursed. And it's great if you want to do that. And I commend you for doing it. And we have a ton of wonderful teachers that still do that because they want to do it for their children. And that's great. And they can do it, but they also know I can't turn this in for reimbursement anymore. If we're going to have something, I have to go to my principal. I have to fill out this form. The principal has to say it's okay. The principal orders it through her office. And then she pays the bill through her P card by sending me all the information. It is so clean. It's the cleanest that it's ever been before I got here. It was crazy before I got here, and now it's clean. And people say no to their people all the time. Nope, not going to do that. Yes, we'll do that one. Not doing that one. Think about yours. That's what they do. These principals have a ton of pressure on them, and this P card is just one of them that they have to control, and they do it extremely well. So I then let Mrs. Carnes know how we were going to do this on April 6th of 2023. September 6th, I sent another email out to a teacher who asked me, hey, am I really not allowed to use my own card? I said, hey, that's right. So I sent it again to the other staff to reiterate it. Then I put it all up on a spread, on a PowerPoint in front of everybody multiple times that year. March of 24, we fast forward to October 6th. I sent an email back out to the expectations of the card holders and the secretaries because some new people had come on. We had some administrators leave and we had some new secretaries and principals. So I said, hey, let's do this again. Let's make sure that we're reiterating with everybody so that the confusion goes away. So I did that, sent it all out, said, email me if you understand this. They all emailed back, got it, great, we know what we're doing. Then in March of 26, my correspondence to the board about Ms. Reed's request for the statements and the attachments of the monthly charges, I began to pull all of that from the P cards. It's very detailed, very explained. Paperwork, procedures, how we're going to follow it. I sent all that to the whole board, asking the questions, answering the questions about how does this work. No board members responded except Ms. Lyons, who said, thank you for informing me. And at that point, I sent the following statistic to the board about the 1,000th of the budget. At that point, I thought we had answered all the questions. Everything was good. Then it resurfaced again and became an issue multiple times. So then we discussed as a board, okay, hey, let's put it on, let's make a line of P cards in the agenda so that we're putting it out there. Okay. We all decided we were going to do that. So in January of 25, January 13th, sorry, one time more pipe. I sent to the board president and the vice president, who were Ms. Lawson and Mrs. Orthrell at the time, reiterating that I was going to do this. I was putting it all together. It would be on there for January 15th. At the agenda setting board meeting, I had all the purchase orders, the cards, the users listed by user's name from July of 24 to December of 24, because that's the school year we were in. Didn't go back any further because that budget and annual financial report had already been completed. So we're in the school year. I said, here's the first 6 months. Nobody said anything. They said, great, voted for it. Beginning in February, we started to put it on monthly. Here you go. These are all of them. At the time, we got a paper statement that had everybody's credit card number on it, the whole credit card number, which Mrs. Carnes would then sit and black all of that out and then attach it to executive content for you folks to see. Not the public, the executive content, which matched every single transaction on the statement that I downloaded from PNC. I do it every month. We download it, we attach it. March, Ms. Griffin said, hey, listen, I think there's one part that we're not quite following here. We never approved the list of people that have these cards. I said, you're right, we didn't. She said in February, can you get that together and have it on March? Certainly we can. So March 12th, I had the list of current employees that had cards, gave it to the board. Everybody went through it. I explained how their levels of what they were permitted to spend were attached. It depended on what they did, what they purchased, and who got what. It was all listed on there. It had a big, at this point, I also then explained that the paper statements from PNC no longer come. They do not send paper statements anymore. They just don't. Everything is online. So we can download the paper statement online, and Ms. Carnes attaches it to the executive content, so that not everything is out there. Because as all of you, would you want your bank accounts out there on the internet? Of course not. We don't want that for the district out there on the internet. It's my job to protect that. So I'm not going to do that, but I do give it to you folks because you're the executive board. So then June of 25, I sent an email to Dr. Malushnik because he had started then, and he said, let's draft the procurement card update procedures, expand the expectations, and have every single person that has a card sign off that they read the expectations and they understand them, and we're going to keep them. I said, okay, we're going to do that. So on August 4th, I sent it to all 15 cardholders and the 2 people in the business office that were in charge of collecting this data, sent it to all of them. Every single person sent it back to me. All of our administration that has this card sent it back to me. Absolutely, I understand. I have them in my office. You can come and look at them anytime. I have a big table. Come look at all of this anytime you want to. Then we fast forward December 3rd. I emailed the entire board, when the new board members came on, an entire copy of every purchasing card statement from the beginning of the inception, starting in January of 2023 up until this December. You now have the January or December one on this January. You have them all. You have every purchase that has ever been made by any administrator in this district. You have it. You have it all. It's on the board tabs. You have it. I have never had one person put in a right to know request and say, I want to come, or I want copies of this, because I'm going to tell you this, okay? Part of the right to know policy is copies of these receipts will cost 25 cents per copy of the receipt. Must be paid ahead of time by certified check, which I will go and count all these, send it to whoever wants to send in this right to know, tell them how much they owe. They have to pay us by certified check as soon as I get that. Then we will spend taxpayer dollars of one of the girls in my office, taking all this apart, making her the copies, and sending them out there. But I have also offered multiple times in the last 3 years, if you want to come to my office and lay them all over the table, come and do it. We have nothing to hide. I welcome people to come and look at anything you want to in the business office with my team. We have nothing to hide. You want to look at any of these receipts over the last 3 years, give me a call. I'll put you on the calendar. Come on and do it. Or I'll make the copies after I get your certified check. No problem. That's what I have to say about the P-card statements.
Just a quick question. Can that
Yes, ma'am.
information be emailed as well too?
I can't. This?
No, like the right to know stuff.
Sure can. It's actually in so that you know, it's on the agenda, it's on the website. It's under, what's it under? Right to know. It's under the right to know officer, and it goes to an email, but like right on that page for right to know, it says the form that you click on and you can fill it out, and right under there, it is the list of the charges and how we're permitted to charge people for certain things. So it's also on our website, but I will be glad to pull that and send it to you.
Yeah, it's under right to know.
Okay.
Under parents. It's
Oh, it's under parents. Okay.
It's under the parents.
It's under the parents page, right to know. If you click on that, the documentation's all there. Not for agenda items.
Right? Yeah. Well,
You're signed up, sir. You are. We got you.
Go for this part too.
You signed up for. You signed up for. There's public comment at the end.
I
You're
want
signed.
to comment on what we were just talking about here.
You didn't sign up.
That's.
You're not. You're signed up for the second part. You can mention it if you wanted the second part where you're signed up.
That one we're still on.
You're registered. I know that, but you
I
have to
registered
register up to 6:59. You could register to
Well, I
speak in
filled it
public
out. I
comment.
gave it to you. You told me that wasn't.
And you're on the agenda. You're on for public comment at the end for non-agenda. But you can mention this at
I
that
want to
time.
speak now while it's still fresh. What we
No,
were just talking
that,
about.
public comments. That part's over. She just said there's no more on this part. So, sir, you'll have your opportunity when you signed up. Thank you.
Moving forward to board matters. 3.1, a motion to vote all January 2026 consent calendar items with the exception of school finance items. A motion and a second, please.
Motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
All right. Any questions? Did you get through that one?
Throwing lines. I want to pull 6.1 and 6.2.
Okay.
And I am pulling
So,
13.1.
6.1, I had this check table.
Yeah, I was
because-
going to do, yeah.
Okay, so I already did that
Oh.
from the emails that had gone around, so do you want me to?
Well, I think we have to make it public that we're tabling it.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is I've already pulled it, so you will vote to table.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And then 6.2 also?
Yes.
Okay.
13.1.
Hold on. No, I don't think it's being tabled. You're just making it an action instead of consent.
Correct.
Okay.
13.3.
Misery?
13.1 and 13.2.
3 or 2? You did it. Are you looking at the right number?
13.1 and I'm sorry?
2.
13.2?
1 and 2.
Not 3.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, so I can open it for consent. Okay, there you go. Those items will be.
So we're still waiting for it to pop up. Don't get too much excitement.
It's not there?
Now it is.
Okay. So that's it. That's what you should this tab. Just change it. We'll go back down and do a lot of separate motion. I went. Oh, Dr. Thomas, I went through two.
That's because you see what I'm used to her when she clicks.
Yep.
So thank you, but my question makes sense. And actually, she's gonna send you hers because it didn't pop up.
Okay.
I can't even say
Oh, okay, so,
We're really past.
yay, nay, do you wanna pass me a piece of paper?
Do you want Greg? Greg, why don't you, can you get her?
See, Ashley can't get on either.
She's on, but it's just won't do the voting. part.
Okay,
She
so
can see
you
the
can just hand me a piece of paper, that's fine.
I mean, but you still have to acknowledge what who voted which way.
Yeah,
So they
I
can't-
just put your hand on.
Oh, you can add it in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, as soon as she says it to me, I can say it.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Let's have her put it, she says her name on it.
Okay. Miss Lawrence?
Yeah.
She says.
Passes 9-0.
3.2, reorganizational minutes. Can I have a motion and a second?
Yep.
I thought she was first.
What were the 3? No, it was 13-1.
Oh, 13.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay.
we're gonna table.
So we're going down to 3.1. No,
No, we're going to 3.2, 3.3, and then we'll go down like regular, and we're gonna table 6.1, right?
okay, so we're going to, we did the consent, so now we're going to 6.1.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, that's my confusion. Okay, so 6.1, under curriculum, a motion and a second is to table the International Fair Schedule.
So moved. Second.
Who is the first one?
Griffin moved.
Griffin,
Thank
Amber
you.
second. And Mel second.
Okay.
Any questions? Can you open the vote, please?
Hold on.
This is the table. This is the table.
There you go. This is to table it. I'm sorry, Karen.
Mine's a J.
Okay. Because it, okay. That's 9-0 to table.
All right.
I think
No,
6.2.
6.2, can I have a motion and a second
Motion.
to purchase access to the Timely AI scheduling platform?
Motion.
Motion moved by Ms. Lyons. Second by,
Ms. Brown?
Ms. Brown.
Get in there.
Any questions?
Dr. Wilson, just
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, thank you for responding and getting back to us with the other school districts that do this, because it was important to recognize that we do our due diligence, that we don't just,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
someone presents us, but I also saw that you sent us, about 3 or 4 other examples of programs that also are looking at ways to be smart about scheduling. And so I appreciate that. Probably my my question was about 10, what does that look like a little bit? And they didn't respond. It wasn't that you reached out to them. I saw in your email, you absolutely reached out to them. And I still didn't see that they kind of broke that down a little bit. And again, this is not to deny the work that our principals do, because it is important. Scheduling is a nightmare for anyone who understands. And I think we had a parent already on here describing what that looks like. So that is a problem. The only thing I want to be mindful is 25,000. I don't know if that's 2% or 1%, but I know it's still money that we need to be thinking about when it comes to making these decisions, especially from my knowledge of scheduling and knowing that 10,000 and when that, you're paying 10,000 to start, how does that look throughout the year? We know kids come in and out and that moves, of course. So my question is this something that has to be done today? I know scheduling, I know I try to do between now and March, obviously, but are they able to get more, or if this is all they have? I don't want to, push something or delay something, especially for administrators, if I don't need to.
Right. And that's ultimately the point to make, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. Is that we could definitely push this to February. Scheduling will start in early February, but even that is based on the assumption that you all approved the course catalog on February 18th meeting. And so the scheduling has to start in mid-February at the latest.
Correct.
The counselors will start going into classrooms to have course selection sheets the week of the 16th. And so we certainly could wait until February, and then we can't have had anything set up in the beforehand for Timely to help make it even more efficient. And at the same time, the principals and I, we serve at the will of the board. So if the board says wait, then we'll wait and we'll roll with that. But the principals would like to have it now so that they can start building out that foundation, so that when the course catalog is approved and kids have selection sheets in, that they can go ahead and run first, second, third, and then that way by March and April we're done with all of the major issues, and we're talking about individuals. Yes, ma'am.
And yeah, this is not to necessarily delay it, but what I'm asking is that, what I see in here is this is 1 year. So
That's
if
right.
next year we don't, that's the nice thing too, that if we go through this
It is
process,
a year to
we
year.
do not
That's right.
have to commit to that. So,
That's right.
okay. No, I don't want to delay, but.
I think
and
you
Doc-
may have answered my question. Our middle school and high school principals are on board with this. They know this will make their job easier.
They asked for it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the counselors as well. I had a meeting with the high school counselors and Dr. Manns today where they specifically said, Dr. Wilson, we need this timely, so please do whatever you got to do to get the board to get timely. So this is very specifically as Dr. Allen Thomas and I talked about at one of the last meetings. This was something I didn't even know existed until there was an AIU curriculum coordinators meeting, and the representative from Timely, Chris Edmonds, who is on, presented, and I went up and got his contact information and put him in contact with the principals, and I said, y'all review this, and if it's something that we have to have, let me know, and I'll figure out how to get it. And if we don't have to have it, let's not do it because I don't want to spend the money. And both Dr. Manns and Mr. Manning said, no, we need this. So that's why it's on there. That's why we're asking for it. This was a principal request.
And it's in the budget as well. Like
And
when you
it
think
is.
about your
That's right.
budget, your pot that you have,
Yes,
it is
ma'am.
something that's not going to exceed in cost. Okay.
That's right. This is within the secondary funds that I still have available.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Wilson, I do believe, I'm sorry, that there was a discount if we signed by the end of
That is
January,
also correct. Yes, ma'am. That is also correct.
And just, I know that they're exploring also like to do elementary
Never
schools as
paid
well too, that there's something that they're talking about. Have you spoken with the elementary school principals to see if there's something that's on their radar that, that they're okay with that too?
So I have not for a couple of reasons. One, because elementary scheduling is far simpler than middle school and high school scheduling. And my veteran elementary principals are very experienced with their elementary schedules. And so even if they had an elementary option, I don't know that my principals would even want that right now. It might seem like a redundant expenditure, quite honestly. But then two, I want to make sure that if they do come out with something for elementary, that is tested before we just jump in with both feet and say, yes, we want to do this. Good question. Yes, ma'am.
Was there two separate costs for high school versus middle school?
So they have a flat rate fee for high schools that is $15,000, and they have a flat rate fee for middle schools that is $10,000. And that's based on the difficulty of a high school schedule versus a middle school schedule. We have 1,100 kids in this building, 150 of whom are on full-time WOA. And as Ms. Alfieri pointed out, right, you have scholars who are interested in the musical. Come see Leo, I'm sure he'll be there. But also interested in ceramics. And when we have, my principals are amazing and wonderful, my guidance counselors are amazing and wonderful, and at the same time, as they try to figure things out, it is challenging for them to say, all right, well, Leo might want to do ceramics and performing arts, so I'm going to make sure that they're not both in first period. However, you can put in timely that we have electives that are not a part of the core courses for juniors, for example, and then timely will say you could do it both in first period, or you could do both in third period, or you could do both in fourth period, and you could do one in first and one in fourth, and then that would allow for more kids to get those things that they want based on the course requests. And right now, when we do that, as we talked about before, we run the loads from March until June, but then we don't actually have the power to shift stuff around in live format until after the rollover, which happens sometime the first couple weeks in July. With timely, we can say, all right, well, what if we tried it with first and fourth period? What if we tried it with first and first? And then that way we can know by April, this works better, this is worse, and then we can have those conversations.
Okay. Dr. Wilson, was this
Yes, ma'am.
a yearly cost?
This is a yearly cost, yes, ma'am. And that was one thing. So I told y'all last week that this would not be the annual cost, that this was the startup cost, and then the rest would be a licensing fee. I misspoke. This is an annual fee of $25,000 that I would need to then budget in my curriculum budget moving forward.
Oh, because we won't have that discount any longer. The 23,200 is only for this
That's
first
just
time.
this
It's
one
only
time. That's right.
25.
So it'll be 25. So it's if it works the way we want it to work, then at least we know what the cost is before budgeting season begins. Also in 2 weeks, and then I can put it in the budget.
My good point was that is it already accounted for in the budget was my big concern, and make sure that it is something that has been vetted and true by other schools before we took on something like
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for answering that.
For sure. For sure. And I started on your recommendation, Dr. Allen Thomas, and I really appreciate it. I started an email with all of the assistant superintendents in Allegheny County today to say, like, hey, for anybody that's looking at timely, let's talk about this so that then moving forward as we get together and we meet, if it's going well, great. We'll be the biggest endorsers. And if it's not going well, we'll be the first people to say it's not something that anybody else should invest in.
Appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a yearly contract with you.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. And it's not, we're not signing any kind of 5-year contract or 3-year contract right now. We'll see how it works this year. And if it doesn't do what it promises to do, then we'll go back to doing Power Scheduler, and my principals will just have to do it in more crunch time than they want to do.
It's nice to hear that it's a percent budget.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm good.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Wilson.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think the voting is open.
Yes.
Oh, good. Ashley, online voting?
She's doing it by paper.
All right.
They keep it small and
Yes.
Motion passes 7-2.
All right, we're gonna skip down to 13.1, under buildings and grounds. Can I have a motion and a second for the change order force turf?
So moved.
So moved by Dr. Wallace. Second by Mrs. Arthurell. Any questions?
So I do have a question on this one. Thank you
Mr.
for
Bridge?
sending. Yes, thank you for sending the email regarding the payment. So I did go back and look at our board documents, and I think it was September 2023 where we originally started this project. We were all wondering what's taking so long and things like that, and I'm a little confused because some of the attachments look like duplicates for the $475,260, and then on the contract it says only the baseball field, softball field. It doesn't have the tennis court in here, but I'm guessing it's supposed to be here.
The tennis court is at 400.
Yeah, so that's the tennis court's the 475,260, right? And then another quote was the $4,093,935. Putting those two together, I'm not getting the 5.1. So there's something else in here because on this signed contract, the scope of work, Exhibit A, is not in here, and even the dates and things just say TBG. So I'm not sure if there's another contract that's supposed to be here that would go with this tying on to the net from what we paid to now. Like, I'm trying to understand, because I know Dr. Wallace asked what was the budget, and
did you see
you
that?
sent it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I looked at that and went back to the contract, the numbers, there seems to be a little bit something. It's an overage, but where is that overage?
Where did it come from?
Would it be for the permits, maybe?
The permitting?
So we spent $500,000 on permits.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the numbers, when you add up these contracts to what the 5.1 that Dr. Wallace asked for, it's not. There's something, either we're missing a contract or something's not uploaded, because Exhibit A, where the work's supposed to be listed, it's not there. So I'm not sure if I'm just missing something or
that's something.
where that is. So I don't want us to spend the $30,000 if we have this money somewhere that we can use that money for and not approve a difference. I don't want to table it, but I mean I could table it until you find out where that $500,000 or $490,000 is.
Yes.
Because even the contract doesn't have a date. So I don't know when we signed it. So I'm not
It's
sure.
been so long ago with
I know,
Allegheny
exactly.
County Conservation and
Exactly.
Central Borough and them making us rewrite all the.
Yeah, it's 2023. I mean, I found it, but on the contract, it's not dated. So 2023, but it could be 2024 for all we know. But
You
it's
could
kind
make,
of
you could make the motion contingent
Okay.
upon the submission of supporting documents, and that way,
Yeah.
once you get
We
it,
can still
like,
vote
it
on
won't be
this.
paid unless you get the sufficient documents.
And
If you
then
wanna do that.
we'll get with Kelly and Lisa.
Yeah.
And put all that together.
I'd like to still vote on it though, regardless.
okay.
It's just gonna, if they won't have baseball season on our fields if we keep holding
Well, I
things up.
thought this is already paid. Like from what we're saying, that they already paid for that. We were looking at the net, which I know
Right, that's
we
the,
need to
that
do
was the
that.
only thing.
But I'm
The
just
ball catcher, yes.
worried if we have that money somewhere, do we really need this additional change order and that 40,000 is
I believe we
somewhere
do.
sitting there?
I believe we do, but like she said, us getting together and just verifying everything.
Okay. I don't know.
And also, Dan, I thought we had asked last meeting, I think, refresh, right? The total cost were listed.
He sent an email, yeah.
It's all broken down.
So many. Dr. Wallace, are you okay with amending it to say contingent upon the submission of the supporting documents?
Yes, this is what the motion says now. Motion to approve the change order for the baseball field net along the base sideline contingent upon verification of supporting documents.
Okay, so if everyone refreshes, it should come up.
Anything else?
No, sorry, that's me.
That's okay, thank you.
You know, I confuse people with numbers. I know it.
That's good. That's purposely.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. I think you're waiting on me. Okay, there we go.
Oh, no, here it is.
Okay.
Came up on.
Okay.
Yep, so we're looking for a motion.
Oh, we got it. We already have.
Yeah, no, it's already.
It's just reads different. Now it's.
So anytime you change it, just change it.
Yep, I can, yep.
Here we go, everybody. Yes, so now we close online voting. We say motion passes 7-2, and this is where. So now it's gonna say that, so now we're gonna go to 13.2. Which was pulled. That's right.
Okay. 13.2, can I have a motion and a second for a request for proposal for the landscaping per review by union?
To add context to that, Sandy and I did meet with Dee and her constituents in the union. The maintenance crew are actually the people that are asking for this because we do not have the equipment to keep them safe going over those huge hills. So it will not be the landscaping of the entire building or even over the district. It is only to do those huge hills that, number one, they right now are using weed whackers to do over the soccer field, which looks terrible. And the new hillside for the throwing for the track, we do not have that equipment. They're going to get hurt. We just want to MOU just that part of it for a company that actually has the equipment to be able to do that. And the union is good with this. It's a request for bids, yes. A request for bids that the union is doing the MOU and they're okay with it. So I still need a motion and a second.
Motion.
So second.
Motion from Timber and a second from Dr. Robinson. Any questions? Can you open the voting, please?
She'd be wasting his face. Don't Oh, sorry. Oh, I said, yeah.
Motion passes 8-1.
Any chance that could come under the safety?
Um,
Safety also.
No.
We're finished.
Oh, okay. Because it's going to go down to finance.
Oh, the finance.
He may not, but, you know.
So just keep it, just give it about finance.
No, we're good.
That's good.
After Kate does it.
So
17.1 under school finance, a motion and a second for the resolution of Act 1 certifying tax rate.
Griffin moves.
Allen, seconds.
Any questions? Open the votes, please.
yes. Okay.
Did it open up for her?
It won't open. She won't.
She just said yes.
Okay, motion passes 9-0.
17.2, a resolution to accept Ready to Learn funding for tax equity grant.
Griffin moves. Hard throw.
Any questions?
We like money.
Open the votes, please.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
17.3, a motion and a second for the ratification of the bill list.
Griffin moves.
Number second.
Any questions?
No, I do. So I just have some questions. I see that there are a couple attorney fees in here. Did we receive the refund from Campbell Durant LLC?
Yes, it was on their next billing.
Okay, and then there was another attorney listed on here. Is that for someone else's, for Lidecker?
She is no, Lidecker is the EEOC.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's all for me.
Motion passes 7-2.
17.4, a motion and a second for approval of the P card report.
Griffin moves.
Second.
Any questions?
I have a statement. So when earlier, Ms. Regan said she had mentioned the P cards in my request for the P card statements. So I mean, and this is also for the public. On this current line item here, we can see the PNC, the online banking statement, and you can also see the paper bank statement, what you would usually receive in the mail. When I made my request for the 2023-24 P card statements, it was for the paper bank statements, and I have yet to receive those. So when I say that there are certain statements that I did not receive, that's it. And so, yeah, to this day, and I also, as a board member, requested the receipts, and I have been denied. Those requests have been denied.
I didn't deny you. I told you you could come in and.
I don't want to come in and see them. I want you to send them to us.
Okay. Fill out that right to know request. You said you would. And
Why do I need to? I don't need to file a right to know request. You're the business manager. You were to send that to
Because I
us.
told you
We
that
don't
it's
have
a
to do
large
all that.
amount of
You
time
went-
for any of our
All
employees
right,
to do
is it
that.
taking too much time? We have them now, so what we can get the old one.
It's right, it's the process. I understand.
It's not a process. That's what we need
process.
by lack of transparency.
I was totally transparent.
No, you're not.
It's okay. I just don't have to do more.
She'll just give you something. So you can write it down. That's fine. Like I said, you don't have to.
Okay. 6-2 with one abstention. And
17.5. A motion and a second to approve the fund reports and student activity reports for informational purposes.
So moved. Griffin moved, sorry.
Second.
Any questions? Open the votes, please.
all right. So it passes 8-1.
Thank you. 17.6. A motion and a second to approve, investment reports for informational purposes.
Griffin moves.
Second.
Any questions? Open the votes, please.
Okay. Motion passes 8-1. Yes, it's a Jean thing.
I missed my opportunity to say this because I thought it was under finance, but back under athletics, so many of us got phone calls when our athletic director was on the television during the Penguins game talking about the grant that we got from Dick's Sporting Goods, $12,000. You made us proud, Tamir Brown, wherever you are.
And we also we did get confirmation that we are getting the $60,000 also from Dick's, but there wasn't enough time to put it on here, so it'll be on next month.
So we are
So,
getting
yeah.
$60,000 from Dick's, a grant.
A grant to
Our
buy
athletic department.
an athletic department vehicle, a van.
Yes. 19.1. Old business.
I do have old business, and I think it's old, new, mid. I don't know what to call it. However, I know back in 2022, the previous board leadership authorized a forensic audit services from Clifton Larson for $100K. Do we know what happened with that $100K? Was it the full $100K? And then where is that audit? If we continue to ask for transparency,
So we have
I
it.
think
We have it. Is it on? Is it on?
I didn't see the Clifton forensic audit. I didn't see that one.
Okay, we definitely have it. I don't know if it's on. I'm thinking it's on the website.
Could it be under
But
like
we
board meeting docs?
definitely have it. Yeah.
Okay, well, just.
I'll get it.
Yeah, or at least the day that we approved the audit, what the audit findings were, what the final cost
Sure.
was. That would be helpful as we look at our finance.
We'll just put it on the website.
Yep.
There is a link if you search Clifton or forensic on the website. There is a link to the audit there, but make sure that it's more. That's February 6, 2023. But I'm sure
That's probably when they finished it. I would think.
That's my, it looks
Yeah.
like it's the full report.
In the cost, is that listed?
I don't, probably not. It's probably just the audit, but I can look at the cost.
It's a, supposed to be a 100-page document.
And Jill will pull the cost, so the document
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
loaded
I
online.
do know that they went over the cost and then we had to bring it back to the board to ask for an additional amount of money
I
for it.
remember that audit.
Yeah, but I'll
Yeah.
find it.
Any other old business? New business? Dr. Livingston?
Jill,
Okay, so, this is so that Dr. Livingston can sign our e-grants. It's the resolution, I talked about it last week. We have to upload this to e-grants now that we had to wait till she was in Edna and then Dr. Wilson had to get this from them. It's just a procedural thing, but without this, we can't get our funding.
Yeah, she can't sign it.
Yeah.
Understand.
The state will not release my title money. unless
Right.
they have that done.
Like her money, right? All right.
It's a motion, yes.
It's a motion. So can I have a motion and a second to approve the e-grant electronic signature resolution?
Second.
All right. So, any questions on that? Can you open it up, please? Thank you.
Okay, motion passes 9-0.
I have new business. So,
It's public comment.
Oh, no,
we can still do reductions.
yeah,
So, as far as,
She's added to
she's still on new business.
All right, go ahead, Barney.
so as far as the statement, that was read earlier, that was about board leadership, so I want to make it very clear, I am not in agreement with that statement at all. As a matter of fact, the state representative's, statement that she issued yesterday, as far as I'm concerned, it's factually correct. So I do agree with that. The only part I disagree with is that, for the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office to investigate the district, I believe that he should recuse himself. And I would like to, urge the public to, request that he does that as well. And let the Attorney General's office, investigate the, complaints that myself and a few others have, submitted to the state. In addition to that, the statement that was posted on the district website, that was from board leadership as well. My complaints and my concerns alone validate the representative's statement. So for instance, I have asked multiple times how much money our former superintendent was paid out when he left. I have yet to receive that information. The PCAR statements that I already referred to. Why are we speaking while I'm speaking? Ms. Griffin also mentioned, had found that our solicitor was paid for a bill that should have been submitted to another school district. So that was an issue as far as finances. And also the audit of ESSER funding, that it was atrocious. And oh, it's fine.
What's so funny?
Exactly.
What is so funny?
So yeah, another thing I wanted to touch on. So Ruth, her name is mentioned a lot, and she works in the under the business manager. When I talk about issues with finances, I'm in no way referring to Ruth. Ruth is extremely professional, kind, competent, and efficient. And every time we sent out a request for documents or we needed assistance from the finance business office, she was extremely helpful. So I want to make sure that her name is not tarnished when it comes to complaints or any of that. Like, we are not referring to Ruth, and I can confidently say that when I speak. And so, yeah, this is, I mean, for folks who have been watching these meetings for quite some time, I've been talking about these things for a while, and I'm happy that you all have come out. I appreciate it. Please keep coming out as well. We really need your support for those of us who are actually trying to do right by the district.
So
That's all
I
I
will
have.
speak on new business. Excuse me, I'm speaking now. I will speak on the statement that was made by board leadership. The statement that was made by Abigail Salisbury was irresponsible, unprofessional, and it is unacceptable that a state representative, without speaking to the school district, would even make allegations that she has made, causing them to fall in the category of criminal. Let me speak to you now. Under no circumstances would I be sitting on this board involved in criminal activities. You can say what you want, and I'm saying what I want. You had your turn. You will not, in this crowd of people, and I'm glad you're here, so that you can hear me say to your face, under no circumstances would I, Karen Lyons, with my family here present, to support the fact that there would be no way that I would be sitting here today on this board. You can say what you want, you can believe what you want, because she came out with a statement with just allegations. Did she call the school? Absolutely not. She's an attorney, and yes, she should have known the right procedures to follow before that statement went out. Sorry, you can feel what you want. You could, I know you requested bills, and that's fine. You have the right to do so. But that statement was irresponsible. It was irresponsible.
It wasn't.
So to Abigail, it was irresponsible. It was. And you know it. She never contacted school, and it is in writing that she never contacted Jill, who is our business manager. That's who she should have went to before she made those allegations because of hearsay. And yes, the constituents, I appreciate you all. I have constituents too, who are concerned at the fact that you went straight out there and made a statement so that the media that's here today, you know, they escalate the process, all of their criminal activities. I'm not a criminal. Mr. Jeffers, you called me a criminal last time you were here. You did. You stood here and said we're criminals. Same for you, Mr. DeMarco. I got your criminal. Stop. You stop. I'm telling you, don't call me a criminal. I'm saying it to you now. We're not criminals.
Okay.
And Abigail Salisbury said it when she put that statement out. Now, and that's what I'm going to say. That statement was from board leadership, and I'm part of that leadership. You will not defame my name or anyone else's name on this board. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you. We're going to move right on down to public comment.
Lynn Banaszak.
Hi. Before I make my statement, I just wanted to say that as someone who's been
she did the picture.
She filled out. She filled out.
and as someone who's walked in this building since I was the first 9th grade class of the Woodland Hills School District, I'd like to just say to the Buildings and Grounds team, everyone that walks in this building should feel pride. It's a pristine, lovely place to show up. And thank you for everything you do to make sure that our students have a beautiful place to be every day. As I said, my name is Lynn Banaszak. I'm here tonight because I care deeply about the stability, credibility, and future of this district, and because our students deserve leaders who lead with purpose. Over the past year, the public conversation about Woodland Hills has become louder and uglier. Some of that reflects real concern and legitimate questions. I myself stood here exactly a year ago, respectfully, voicing my concerns about the process and choice made for superintendent. But an increasing portion of what I'm witnessing now is something else entirely. Trolling, misinformation, and chaos disguised as advocacy. It is not logical, it is not grounded in facts, and it is not focused on solutions for our students. If the goal is attention, chaos works. If the goal is improvement, chaos fails. Woodland Hills does not need more noise.
Right.
We need progress, and progress requires a different approach. One rooted in problem solving, collaboration, transparency, and evidence. So here's what solutions look like. First, establish a single source of truth. The district should communicate proactively and consistently so families don't have to rely on these rumors, screenshots, or social media speculation. Facts should not be optional, and the community should not have to guess what is true. Second, we all need to shift the culture from conflict to collaboration. We need structured opportunities for real input and dialogue that are civil and inclusive, where students, educators, and families are listened to respectfully, and where disagreement does not turn into character assassination. Third, use accountability systems, not public theatrics. If concerns are real, we use proper channels. If allegations are made, we ask for documentation. If investigations occur, we allow them to do their work. And if misconduct is confirmed, most certainly consequences should be clear. Accountability must be based on evidence, not online mobs, proxy battles, surrogate smear, or distraction campaigns. Because here's what bad faith tactics try to do. Let me just finish. If someone truly cares about this district and its students, they will bring facts, not fumes. They will bring solutions, not sabotage. And they will show up for students, not for attention. Thank you.
So Tiffany Young, she signed up online, so she might be online. Can he do this?
Not seeing a Tiffany nor a Young.
I'm sorry, is Miss Young online?
We don't have a Tiffany nor a Miss Young. We don't
Okay.
have either.
Okay, John D'Amico.
First off, thank you so much. That was very nice.
Thank you for letting her finish her speech. Thanks for letting me come back and speak. Last week, I don't know if you know, but I wasn't allowed to speak because the board filed a complaint against me for harassment, and they were threatened for their safety, they said. So there was an investigation. So weirdly, 4 hours before the meeting last week, I was notified I wasn't allowed to speak. But there's one group of people that I really dislike, and they're bullies. Okay, I tried to bully somebody when I was a little kid. Kid punched me in the face and never bullied anybody again. I think the people are trying to bully this lady here. Tried to bully me last week by not letting me speak. And I think they're bullying the superintendent by not letting him speak, because I think he knows a lot of stuff that you don't want him for us to know. Speaking of transparency, I appreciate your transparency earlier today when people were speaking. See how easy that goes? You let them know about the P cards, and we can move on from that. If they have questions about it, we move on from there. I'd also like to thank the athletic director. When he was questioned about the P cards, nobody here spoke up and explained them. He got up and said what that $600 was for, right? I appreciate that. That's great. See, we moved on. That's how we do it as a family. So it's all about family. A lot of kids in our district don't have families like I had a family. A mom, a dad, kids. This is their family, the school. And you are the adults in the family, the heads, okay? Some kids, they don't have it at home. This is it. I worked with Eddie in the Scouts. That's a family for those kids. Did a great job. Okay, church is a family. This, I don't know what this is. I really don't. But I wish we could get together and make it a family and discuss things and move on. Be transparent about it. When I asked you, you're patting your backs, 3-4 years ago, you just said that, we're in the hole with money. Okay, $3 million. You're all patting yourselves on the back 3 years ago when you cut our taxes a $500,000, which came out to $80 a year for some people. What's that? A couple Vinnie pies, 3 triangle hoagies. We didn't need that back. You sent out what? Newsletters for it. Called the press. Called the TV people. Put it in our in-district magazine. How great you were, saving everybody $80. I called your office and asked, if you didn't save us $80, how much are we losing by not getting that $80 per household? You said you didn't know. I said, how'd you figure that out then? How many households are in our district? I don't know. You guys said to me, well, don't you appreciate the $80, Mr. D'Amico? What's so funny again? I'm not telling jokes up here. This is a comedy show. I can make it one. You said, don't you appreciate the $80, Mr. D'Amico? I said, no, but there's 22,000 households in our district, okay? Times the $80, that's $1.7 million, okay, that we could have used for our kids. It's all about the kids.
Sarah Rasuski?
All about the kids. It's all about the kids. Just saying.
Yeah, she's
Hi everybody, it's me, Sarah Rasuski. I live in Smithville. I appreciate what Mr. D'Amico said, and I'm sorry I would butcher your name if I tried, but the woman that spoke before him. I appreciate everything that you said as well. Communication, accountability, working together. Sounds awesome. Making opportunities for our parents and teachers and administrators to all be together. That sounds awesome. That sounds like something that has not been something that this board has been working for. Anyway, I'm actually here to give a statement from a high school senior here who could not be here tonight. So I will read her statement now. Dear members of the school board, my name is Aubrey Moon, and I am a senior at Woodland Hills High School. Unfortunately, I cannot attend the meeting tonight because I have prior work obligations, but the current discord gaining the attention of Pennsylvania State Representative Abigail Salisbury means that something deeper is occurring. I agree with many of the claims made in her letter and would like to speak about the superintendent here tonight. Throughout my time at Woodland Hills High School, we have gone through 3 superintendents, 4 if I count the interim before Dr. Malichnik came on board. From my experience, Dr. Malichnik has been the most involved of the bunch. Dr. Malichnik reached out to students from all groups and clubs and asked how he could help improve their experiences. He made the effort to come to the musicals, National Honor Society meetings, and student summit events. He even started his own student leadership forum and held a meeting for all of the student council officers, class officers, and National Honor Society officers like myself to attend and discuss what he could do to help make the school district better for the students. Unfortunately, he was only able to hold 1 meeting before being placed on leave. Dr. Malichnik has always cared about the students and their education, and I believe that is the most important part of his job. He once told me, it's not about the grades, it's about what you're learning. I have never received such great advice from an administrator. This allows me to conclude, whatever is going on behind the scenes, the community deserves to know what is happening because the students have no reason to believe that Dr. Malichnik is problematic otherwise. All I am asking for is transparency. Thank you for your time. I could not agree more. I want to be able to welcome Dr. Malichnik back into his position here. He's the leader that we deserve, and I'm very tired of the obfuscation of this board in not letting us know where he is when he's coming back. Thank you.
Okay, Robert Flanagan Bay.
Mr. Flanagan. Sure.
Good evening. Continuing with integrity, public opinion. What I'm about to speak on, only Miss Reed, Miss Lawson, and Miss Arthrell would know about. That back in 2023 years, of the school board that I sat on those 2 years, it had its integrity questioned when you have individuals who are newly hired and related to administrators get into supervisor positions and or higher paying positions within a year, which speaks to the integrity of the process. When school districts, and in that process, school district policy was violated, which causes public opinion to raise its eyebrow. Integrity of the board is diminished when you censor a board member for questioning board action done through emails. Integrity is when you lose integrity when you change the public comment process without public announcement. Integrity is diminished when assistant to the superintendent of personnel disappears. The superintendent currently hired, not the interim superintendent, the superintendent disappears without any public notice. We still don't know if he could have performed his duties from home. I remember being on the school board for 8 years, from 2005 to 2013, and having documents delivered to my home for me to sign. This board's integrity is on trial among the employees and public opinion. Thank you.
And Mr. Carlton Scott.
Good evening. I'll try to be quick here. Just want to level set, go a little bit of history, so we know where we are and how where we are today is actually a repeat of what was in the past. When the former superintendent, Dr. Cassandra, arrived at Woodland Hills in 2021, the district had been without a superintendent for months, was facing a negative budget, and was dealing with instability across multiple schools. Several facilities were out of warranty, in disrepair, or antiquated. By the time he departed in 2024, Woodland Hills had a $14 million fund balance, had cut taxes for the first time in district history, which, when you have a $14 million fund balance, is not something that's bad to do. Reversed a decades-long enrollment decline, secured funding to upgrade visible community landmarks like the Wolverina and athletic fields, implemented the K-12 robotics program and STEM initiatives, sending a team to the World Championships in Dallas, stabilized operations, and restored credibility amongst many external stakeholders. These are not opinions; those are documented outcomes. It is also worth remembering that in that context, Dr. Castagna was hired. Right, he had previously been terminated from West Mifflin, $1 to $3 million wrongful termination settlement. At the time, a loud segment of the public urged Woodland Hills board not to hire him based on rumors, innuendo, fear of negative press tied to issues from his past that did not legally preclude his employment, things along those lines. The board did not ignore that noise. The board waited. They did their due diligence. They evaluated risk, optics, and credibility, and they made a decision based on what was best for Woodland Hills students and families. That decision, I believe, is validated by the outcomes that I just mentioned. He's now the highest paid superintendent in Allegheny County, and that fact alone, which should give pause to anyone clinging to the same recycled narratives about his competence or character. Why do I bring this up? We're here we are again today. The same small but vocal group of community members who have spent years alleging board malfeasance and administrative corruption without producing any evidence have now succeeded in getting state representatives and the media to amplify their claims. That's not accountability, that's rumor laundering. What makes this especially troubling is that some people now amplifying this narrative are attorneys, elected officials, board members. They understand standards of evidence. They understand defamation law. They understand the damage caused by publicly implying misconduct without substantiation. State Rep. Salisbury is not a private citizen posting on Facebook. She is an elected official. She is a practicing attorney, and yet issued a statement without calling for investigations and amplifying rumor and innuendo without first contacting the district, as Ms. Lyons said and said. That is not procedural oversight. That is a fundamental failure of due diligence. Any serious legislator who is genuinely concerned about possible wrongdoing starts by contacting the institution involved, requesting documentation, giving leadership an opportunity to respond to specific claims. That is how responsible oversight works. You do not go straight to social media. You do not go, do not publicly imply corruption.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, 22.1. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
To adjourn the meeting? Good night. The meeting is adjourned.
Still be getting